Start that one now. Cool. Right, so a bit of background. On the 5th of October 2021, a CVE detailing a path traversal attack on Apache HTTP Server 2.4.49 was released. Assigned the number CVE-2021-41773. It was released with the following description. A flaw was found in a change made to path normalization in Apache HTTP Server. An attacker could use the path traversal attack to map URLs to files outside of the expected document route. If files outside of the document route are not protected by require or denied, these requests can succeed. Additionally, this flaw could leak the source of interpreted files like CGI scripts. This issue is known to be exploited in the wild. This issue only affects Apache 2.4.49 and not earlier versions. So let's break down what this means. From the first bit, we see the recent change that explodes the flaw. Path normalization means that we transform a given path to some canonical form from the software that can understand and thus map to an actual file system. This already leads us to suspect a path traversal attack that can potentially read unintended files. The next part confirms our suspicion, and we are able to use a path traversal attack to read resources outside of the intended scope. We see that we require a very particular configuration to be set. Files outside of the document route must explicitly be granted permission. This is not default configuration and should thus render the exploit useless against a large percentage of Apache hosts. The next part talks about CGI scripts, which erroneously lead us to believe that CGI may need to be enabled for this attack to work, or the path involves CGI in some way. Even if our configuration is not directly affected by this bug, we still want to update the vulnerable version ASAP. To summarize, in order to exploit the vulnerability, we need to have a very unusual configuration on our target server, and to attack via a specific path. Apache fixed the bug and released 2.450. End of story, right? Not quite. Only 2 days later, the CVE was released citing the prior. This one mentions that a fix for the earlier path traversal attack was not complete, and it could still traverse the path in question using an alias directive to map its URLs to the file system. The CVE was assigned number 201-42013 with the description as follows. It was found that the fix for 14773 was insufficient. An attacker could use path traversal to map URLs to files outside of directories configured by alias-like directives. Files outside the directive are not protected by the usual default configuration, which required or denied. These requests can succeed. If CGI scripts are also enabled for the alias paths, this could allow for remote code execution. This issue only affects Apache 2.4.59 and Apache 2.4.50, not earlier versions. So we can actually learn the first exploit was supposedly fixed. There was another input allowing traversal. Now we're being limited to alias path directives. Directories outside of usual path will still require explicit permission.
Hello Raiders, welcome to MSec's Twitch channel.
Hey MT Taggart, thank you for the raid. Let's give you a shout out.
Thank you for the follow.
And thank you for the follows. We are just running through one of the free information rooms, so this Apache
Thank you for the follow.
Traversal bug, we're just going to run through the labs.
Taggart says,
Dag heart bloom, dag heart horns.
Thank you for the follow.
Did it do the shout out? I don't think it did. Let's try again. MT Taggart. There we go, that's better.
This is not real. Right, like some of this stuff in for big build libraries, but as we go down it's entirely possible that there may be legit passwords that we find in here. I also like password equals quote. That's always a fun one. Like that.
Nice. Yeah, passwords in source code for the win. My favourite one is when you put a password in through a commit, and then they just go and make a new commit, deleting it, but it's still in the history. Like, GG. Right, so what version of Apache? HTTPD was initially vulnerable to the CVE. That one. Do they want the full list or just the numbers? Just the numbers. So 2.449. This vulnerability requires an unusual misconfiguration for it to be exploitable. It does indeed, yeah. So what is path traversal? Path traversal exploit is an attack that aims to access resources that are normally inaccessible by abusing flaws in path resolution and or normalization. We'd usually exploit this type. Thank you for the follow. We exploit this type of attack by traveling, or also known as traversing, backwards beyond the supposed route of using the syntax ... Normalization, what? Normally when providing a path for some code to find a file, the absolute path is necessary. Let's call this a canonical path. When a relative path is instead provided, it must be normalized into a canonical form so that the OS library, which used the path, can then find the resources in question. This is an oversimplification, of course, but the gist remains. In general, there exist platform libraries that do this normalization for us in C and C++. We usually get to do everything ourselves. While this can offer some flexibility, it's also an easily introduced flaw of our implementation isn't perfect. Normalizing URLs, so a HTTP server has to translate URLs into canonical paths on the file system in order to find the correct file to serve. While there is definitely some filters in place to avoid being able to traverse beyond the document route, some use cases may easily be missed. In this case, the exploit takes advantage of not only the URL encoding, we'll get to that in a bit, but also a flaw in the path normalization of the alias module. Defined in RFC 3986 section 2, URL encoding is a scheme used to encode special or reserved characters within a URL. For example, spaces in a URL are encoded as plus. If we want to encode an actual plus, we must encode it with what's known as percent encoding. This simply involves prefixing the US ASCII hexadecimal code for the character with a percent sign. In our example, the plus is encoded as %2b. Any character can be URL encoded, and URLs which are fully URL encoded are functionally equivalent to the non-encoded version. From the RFC, if two URIs differ only in the case of hexadecimal digits used in percent encoded octets, they are equivalent. What happened with Apache? In a recent change to the path normalization module in the Apache server, it then allowed a specially crafted URL to bypass the filter, traverse beyond the document route, allowing arbitrary file read on the system if the configuration allowed it. Otherwise, furthermore, the CGI module was enabled, then arbitrary file execution is possible. So, a path traversal exploit will include arbitrary remote files to be processed on the server. No. Include arbitrary local files to be processed. Allow arbitrary files to be exposed. C. Yeah. You're going to encode the dot symbol. So you can do this online, just do URL. Okay. Well, actually, let's use CyberChef. So, full stop. Oh, of course, decodes on there. URL encode. Special characters, there we go. %2e. What does this URL fragment decode to? And we can do that here. So %2e. Do they want %2e or do they want the actual thing? Okay, so it's just double encoding. Good. So yeah, that actually gets decoded again to a dot. So now that the theory is over, let's get to the exploiting the flaw. Firstly, we need a vulnerable version of Apache. Thankfully, we have a Docker for this. For the exploit to work, you need to configure Apache to allow access to files outside the document root. We can be precise and specify a given directory, or we can YOLO the root and give access to everything. For our purposes, everything will do nicely. To begin with, let's run our container and poke at the configuration. Note these modifications work for both vulnerable versions of Apache. So I need to log into this box first, don't I? Let's get credentials wherever they are. They're not. As an aside, you can always modify the configuration by hand. We want to modify the bit.
Yanovite says,
How long till the reference to YOLO is lost on the PC?
God, I think we should like preserve it for all time. Just get it put in like the Oxford Dictionary. Or until like we make the human race just live forever by like gene therapy, and we literally do YOLO. Because you never die. Right, so simply modifying the access control we give to data exposure but not RCE, we get RCE in our little POC. We simply need to activate the CGI module in addition to the access permission. I mean, I can't do any of this until I actually get it up, so I'm just going to skip all this. Okay, so I get some options. The configuration is a bit fastidious, so I've done it all for you in the attached VM. Please wait 4 minutes to start up. Immortality. Let's just skip all this shit. So what module needs to be enabled to get remote code? It is the CGI one. Got name? Has it got CGI bin? No. There are technically two different modules depending on if another module is enabled. The answer uses the shorter of the two. For Christ's sake. So we can load module CGI underscore module. No. Or is it that mod CGI? That. Let's say. Oh, it's fast.
CVE-11 says.
Put it the wrong way around.
Smoked out into beers.
How's it going, JB? There we go. Right, practical. Oh, I don't have a drink on me. Right, I'm going to take a quick break there, then I'll grab a drink. Yeah, I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Lamau 418 in Makweba.
Yeah, I am a teapot.
Translated from Serbian.
Where's my break? Yeah, alright. It's underground. Got it. Whoa, fucking hell. I actually shat my pants. I've seen something. What's that? This is the best streamer I've seen so far. I think you need to see more streamers. Da, 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 da. Oh, we did get an extra police bribe. Agreed. I think you're both lying. Get in there, you fuck. Where are you supposed to go? This is fucked. Where are you supposed to go? Brilliant. Forgot about that clip. That's a good one. Alright. Yeah, I got my drink. The only drink I could find in the kitchen was a 3-litre bottle of Coke. It's thick. So yeah, we're doing this room at the moment. So,
MSec says.
thick.
Gears 11. Web link.
Gears 11 says.
I see we are using Pinky.
Oh no, sorry.
Says.
Pawn kit, that was the last one. I'll get rid of that. We've got another one. So yeah, now we're doing the Apache. There's a CVE for, or 2 CVEs for 2 different versions of Apache. that introduced a path traversal bug. So now we're trying to do that path traversal bug. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what.
Says,
Dude, if I had a 3-liter bottle of Coke, I would be ready to rumble for Dias. Dave?
Let's give JP a shout out as well. Like,
Greater than less than.
This is all from when I was doing website testing, okay?
Cheers 11 says,
But you can see that since I stopped doing website testing, my trend is going down by 16.6%. And this is the last 3 months of service.
hacker mode engaged. You like soda? Yeah, I drink. I just consume. Like I'm lucky that I moved on to diet alternatives because I would be an absolute blimp if I drank full fat Coke all the time.
That's back when I still had my goatee Lamau.
Right, so the configuration is a bit fastidious. I've done it all for you in the VMs attached to the task. There are 4 vulnerable Apache servers as follows. Each server has a flag in the root directory. You'll need to find them all. Okay, that's good. As a bonus objective, try to get an actual shell on one of the CGI-enabled servers. The server on port 803 has a hidden root flag. Right, so let's start with the first one. What do I need to do it, or is it just browser based? Yeah. What was the... We need some kind of directory listing, aren't we? No, it's in root directory, so...
Do I echo like that when I stream?
No, I think it's because I've got my sound clip player also plays through the desktop, so
Lolo.
you get picked up twice. It's my bad. Root. It's alright. So what do you actually need?
Thank you for the follow.
Thank you for the follow. Was that 00? These are all configuration. Does I actually want it like that? No. the fuck? Let's check this out. So the first one is 449 without CGI. So according to the lab, 449 without CGI, we can only read the files using curl. We simply access the files we want using a URL. So if I just, like humour me, if I just do curl then jack shit happens. Oh wait, that's not localhost. Uh, 10.10.166.8.
You can change your TDS voice here. Web link.
Right, so okay, so it does print it out. Why does that not work in a browser? Yeah, weird. Right, okay, well, it's working this way, so let's just do it in curl.
Cheers 11 says.
What is %2e? Is it just the period URL encoded?
Night
Yes.
says.
Yeah.
9 subscribers to go until we reach the goal of 15 and unlock new emote slots. Use those Prime subs if you have them. Implement Twitch votes.
Cheers 11 says.
No %2e is less than. Oh, it is the period encoded, okay.
Yeah, we did it a second ago, so like CyberChef. So yeah, there.
%3e is less than and %3c is greater than.
No bad. So instead of that, let's do root flag txt ttx txt forbidden. There, permission. Cool. Okay, there we go. Right, is that it on AT80? Right, okay, so AT81 if it's the same I'm gonna cry. Right, okay, so what's the difference between that and that one? Okay, so in this one we can call bin bash directly. Then what's dash D? So read the fucking manual.
Spears smoke bad, spears club spears. RTFM for life.
Yeah. I just want the inputs. There we go. -D. C. Come on. Oh, why is this not alphabetical as well? -D. Data. Okay. So you pass in the data and the type. Uh, 10, 10, 1, 6, 6, 8, 1, 8, 1. So that prints the password out. Instead of password, we want flag.txt. Okay, got it. It's just a bit, it's kind of trial error still. I'm not entirely sure where it is in what directory, but keep smashing it until it gives the right answer. What is the flag on 822? So now we've got to do the same as the first one, but with aliases, which looks like that. And instead of HTTP password, it's flag txt again. And then what's the difference to this one? Doesn't tell me. Oh shit. Copy. Double encoding for the win. I can't verify this, so I'll trust you on this one. So the flag for 8083, so this is 450 with CGI, so I'm going to have to, it's not going to give me this one, is it? So double encoding, but we're also going to have to do what we were doing here. Want to copy. No, that's not right. I'm making right big zero this. Let's just get that one.
Just scroll back from commercial. Web link. First commercial was for blue light blocking gummies. Greater than less than.
Blue light blocking gummies, what the fuck?
That's what I said.
WTF? Does anyone want to hear what Scott Helm thinks of adverts? This is what word comes to mind when he thinks of advertising.
Apparently they are gums that can ingest us that allow your eyes to block blue light.
Lottykins says.
Black light blocking gummies would be useful XD.
They are gummed that when ingested allow your eyes to block blue light. That sounds proper dodge. Like, your eyes need to be able to see blue light. Can you imagine, like, going into a room that was lit with nothing but a blue light? Like this. And just being blind. Like, I can't... It's filtering out all the blue.
Cheers11 says.
Black light blocking gum would be choice at a rave.
Lottykins says. Cheers11 says.
Ow.
Alright, so
Translated from Romanian.
if it wants me to pop a shell, let's grab a bash one. Do I have to echo that?
Yeah, it seemed like some chaff toe and my wife talk just thought it was funny.
It's weird. It's the sort of thing like that kind of suite would get banned over here. Like,
Lottykins says.
There are some crazy ass commercials in the US.
right, so let's see if that works. We've got double encoding, running bin bash, then I'm telling it to do echo bash, the reverse shell to netcat, or to my netcat listener. It does jack shit. Let's ditch the echo. Binary output can mess up your terminal user output. Okay, use output to tell it to output anyway. Just did something. No, it's not even doing that code, so let's. Let's just try. I just wanted to print out the bloody password file at this rate. Like, I'd be happy with that. No username. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, it's not 8080 either, it's 82. Oh, fuck's sake. I keep doing localhost as well. Ten, 166 81. Right, so that's doing something. It's not printed what I told it to, but it's. Bash I can.
Cheers11 says.
I'm gonna have to watch you on my PC so I can see what you're doing, lol.
You're on your phone. Let me zoom.
Can't wait for my goatee to grow back.
I'm trying to. So I've got the URL, the port, and then it's supposed to take these double encoded dot slashes, but it's not giving me what the other one was giving me.
I tend to shave it off when I have a major accomplishment in life, lol.
Lottykins says.
I asked MSec last night if you'd shaved love.
She's like, oh, JB is smoother than a dolphin.
Ha 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 ah ah.
That's 8.2 as well, isn't it? Have I got the wrong fucking port? Yes, I have, dickhead. So it's 8-3.
Cheers11 says.
Are the double encodings correct?
Paste. Reverse shell. There we go. Helps when you aim it at the right thing. So what's the flag? LS CD.
My most recent major accomplishment was being called a proper hacker by 3 known hackers, lol.
Yay! Copy selection. It's quite subjective, isn't it? Like what makes you a proper hacker? Like there's so many facets to it. Like I wouldn't know how to code in C for shit. Give me Python, Java, JavaScript, all those I'll code in all day long, but I have no clue about how to do C, because I've never done it. So like when it comes to doing Windows based or like even like buffer overflow stuff, I'm completely clueless, but I can quite happily compile and run other people's stuff, and I can to some degree read it. But yeah, like, am I not a hacker because I don't know C, or is it because I like this? I can take an example. I know what path traversal is. I know how to get a pre-canned reverse shell. Like, does that make you? I mean, it makes me a pretty good script kiddie, I guess.
I don't know, I've always called myself a hacker, but I guess validation is really, really nice.
Yeah.
I consider you a proper hacker.
Oh, thanks, man. Oh, there's hardware stuff as well. Like, I think if you're just keen and able to play with stuff.
Hey, you helped me with one of my C assignments.
Yeah, but I didn't know what I was doing. So that looks about right. Yeah, like, am I a hacker because I got lockpicks and I picked locks and shit? Am I... I've got a 3D printer, I can make 3D models and all sorts of shit. Like, it's all about your mindset, really, as opposed to, like, things you do.
It worked well.
Cheers11 says.
A proper hacker can investigate and leverage tools and programs to attain their own certain goal.
Yeah, this is kind of the point, isn't it? If you're able to think about a situation and what the outcome is, and sort of thinking outside the box is more important than like just the skill sets required to do it. So what user is the Apache server running as? It was Damon. Find the root flag on the machine. Is that right? Yeah, okay, shit. Each server has a flag in the root directory named flag.txt. I have to do the root. I don't want the root password, but I wasn't expecting the hint to be that fucking obvious. I shouldn't collapse that one. So we're going to have like a Got to do some kind of privilege escalation on this box to get the root. So I've got the flag txt. I can only read files that are incorrectly permissioned anyway, aren't they? So SU is available. So can I just create a new account and then sudo and myself? Oh, it's kicked me out. Bastard. Let's keep this. I'm going to save this into my documents. THM. We didn't even make a room for this, so just add a folder. CVE-2021-41773. This is final queue payload. Let's add an hour. Let's re-get my shell. So SUL. I don't know what the password is, so you are screwed. Have we got a Privesk cheat sheet? So you've got SU pass PSWD. I can just change password. No. What could we do? We could read the so we can read that. We could put ourselves in that file if it's writable. So. We haven't got nano. Fuck you. We've got Vi either, great. All the things, there's flag. It's not going to have Docker, I don't think. Let's have a look at the walkthroughs for this. Off. If you're gonna make a write-up, don't fucking load your thing up with ads like a twat. Like, it's like the least helpful thing you can do. Come on, I only want the root one. This is the part I found a little strange. Normally we'd be expected to find a way to escalate our privilege. However, the hint to the question already gives us the password for root. So I suppose this task is mainly to verify again that you have indeed achieved reverse shell. Remember, this is an info box. Yeah, this is what I was thinking of. Like I said, if you find a way to escalate privileges to root without using the password hint, I'll update the article. Okay, so they just... yeah, right. So they're just using the password they got given. In which case I can just use that Apache CVE. So SU. I thought I was going fucking nuts. So now I'm root. So, and then they're saying privesc from Apache is front. But you're not getting privesc from Apache, you're... Weird. With this we finish. You don't know, you don't privesc. There's got to be some other way of doing it. Oh well. If that's the official write-up, then that's the way I'm doing it as well. So